Okay, ma'am, you can start.
Yes, ma'am. Language is the power of life and instrument of culture, domination and freedom. A very good morning to everyone. On behalf of BV Sanghas, Akma Devi, Women's Arts, Science and Commerce College, Bagalkot, under IPSC and the Department of English, organized National Live Workshop on English Language and Literature. Myself, Pallavi Patrol, and I welcome all the delegates and participants to this National Live Workshop. Wake up every morning with thought that something wonderful is about to happen. Now I request Srimati S.J. Vadia, Principal of our college, to welcome the dignitaries and the participants. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Palvi. Very good morning to all of you. I welcome you all to this online live workshop on English language and literature organized by the Department of English by BBVS Mahadavi Women's College, Bagalkot. Our Basveshwara Veerashaiva Vidyavartaka Sangha is 115-year-old. The Sangha runs more than 150 educational institutions under the able leadership of Dr. Veeranna C. Charantimat. Our Akmadevi Women's Arts, Science and Commerce College started in the year 2000 with the intention of providing the higher education to women to enrich their knowledge and encourage them to become empower. So it's my great pleasure to welcome today's speaker and the resource person, Dr. C.L. Patil, Associate Professor and the Coordinator for the PG Studies in English, CCAP, ARS, Inamdar Arts, Science and Commerce College for Women, Vijaypura, who is going to deliver a speech on the topic English Literature, the Soul of the World. Welcome you, sir. Welcome. So another speaker and the resource person, Mr. M.T. Kotnis, Associate Professor of English, CCAP, ARS, Inamdar, Arts, Science and Commerce College for the Women, Vijaypura, who is going to speak on the topic English language life maker. So welcome you, sir. On the occasion of this workshop, I would like to thank Chairman of our Sangha and the Bagalkot MLA, Dr. Veeranna C. Charantimat, and also BV Sangha's Honorary Secretary Sri Mahesh N. Athani and Chairman of College Governing Council, Sri Ashok M. Sajjan Beur, for extending their great support to organize this event. I also welcome all the academicians, faculty members, research scholars, student participants, and all the delegates for this live workshop. Once again, I welcome wholeheartedly you all. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. If your action inspired others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. It's immense pleasure to me to introduce today's resource person, Mr. M.T. Kotli sir. Mr. M.T. Kotli sir, Associate Professor of English, CCAT, ARS, Inamdar Arts, Science and Commerce College for Women, Vijaypur. Sir was born on 1964 at Rabkavi of Bagalkot district. He completed his graduation at Karnataka College, Dharwad, KCD, and post-graduation at Karnataka University, Dharwad. He has totally 33 years of teaching experience. Trained to the students for competitive exams in Chanakya Career Academy for 15 years. Working as a member of BOS at Karnataka State's Women's Karnataka State's Akkamadavi Women's University, Vijaypur. He is interested in the areas like communication, grammar, phonetics, and translation. Once again, I welcome you, sir. Now, I hand over the session to Mr. M.T. Koti, sir. Over to you, sir.
The sound is okay.
Hello, sir. Sir, shall I share the PPT or you are going to share it, sir?
ನೀವು PPT ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು
ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅವರು ಎಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರೇ ಮಾಡಲಿ ಸರ್, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಶೇರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವೇ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಒಂದು ಮಿನಿಟ್.
ಯಸ್.
ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು
ಸರ್. ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್? ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸರ್ ಇದು ಪಿನ್ ಮಾಡಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕ್ರಿ, ಅವ್ರ ಫೋಟೋ ಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡಿ.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಪಿನ್ಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಪಿನ್ಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಓಪನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅವಾಗ ಫೋಟೋ ಇದ್ರೆ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕ್ರಿ ಸರ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರ.
ಈಗ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ
ಸರ್. ಈ ಲಿಂಕ್ ನೀವು ಕಳ್ಸ್ಯಾರ?
ಕಳ್ಸ್ಯಾರ.
ನಿಮ್ನ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ನಮ್ದು ಓಪನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಸರ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Sir,
can you able to view the screen?
PPT. ಇದರ ಬರೋದು.
Sir, shall I share it, sir?
ಇದು ತೆಗೀರಿ ಸರ್, ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ.
Sir, can you able to view the slide, sir?
One second, madam.
ಓಕೆ.
ಅದು ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗೈತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅದು ಪಲ್ವಿದು ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಅಕ್ಕಿದು ಬರಾಕತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಬರಾಕತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಕ್ಕಿ ನನ್ನ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಥ್ರೂ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತಗೊಳತ್ತ. ಈಗ ಅಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಬರೆಸ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಈ ಇಷ್ಟು ಥರ ಗುದ್ದಾಡಿದೆ ಬದಲಾಗತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೆ.
ಎರಡು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡ್ರಿ,
Hello.
ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಎಕೋ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ.
ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೌಂಡ್ ಕೇಳಿಸುತ್ತದೆ. ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ.
Disconnect.
Sir, any problem?
Sir, you there, sir? They are exited, ma'am. I think they are facing network issues. Sir, any problems, sir?
ಸರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಂತ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್
ಪಿನ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್. ಸರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಪಿನ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್. ಇವಾಗ
Sir, you are visible and audible.
ಆಡಿಬಲ್ ಸರ್, ನೋ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಸರ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪಿ ಪಿ ಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ನೀವು ಎಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನೇ ಈ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನಾನೇ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ಸರ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಪಿನ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮೇಲೆ.
ಪಿನ್ ಇದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಪಿನ್ ಇದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಸರ್ ವಿಸಿಬಲ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಸಿಬಲ್.
ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಸಿಬಲ್.
ಸರ್, ನೀವು ನಮಗೆ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
Okay, we can start, right?
Yes. Shall I share the PPT, sir?
No problem, I got, it is not necessary.
No, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So, shall we start now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you can start,
Okay,
sir.
Okay. Now, we can see it.
No, sir, only your photo image we can see, sir. PPTs we are not at shared, sir. If you share yes means I can able to share the PPT, sir.
No, PPT is not required now.
Okay, sir, then fine, sir.
Good morning, friends. Before I start my talk, let me congratulate and appreciate the initiative taken by Mahadevi Women's College Bagalkot, particularly principal, all the members of the staff, and Department of English. Really, you have done a commendable job by organizing and literature. I must say, these two topics are very relevant today because the first topic, English language as a life maker, is very, very relevant for the students because they have to make a career through this language. And the other topic, English language as a soul of the world, that is also quite useful for the students. To begin with, English language, a life maker. I think we have to create awareness among the youngsters now. Now education is being seen from professional point of view. But here we wonder, how can a language make our life? Particularly English language. Because we have many other languages. We have Kannada as our mother tongue. We have Hindi as our national language. So in this context, how can English alone make our life? The answer is very simple. Because English has become a global language. It has become an international means of communication. This globalization has completely changed this world. In the globalized situation, we all are to be connected globally. So when we are to be connected globally, we need a global language. In this situation, we cannot manage with our mother tongue or Hindi as a national language. We have to communicate in English and we have to learn it. At the same time, there is no need to politicize the languages because every language has its own place and significance. I do not consider English as a rival to Kannada. Kannada is our mother tongue. We love Kannada. We can express our feelings, ideas in Kannada very well. Nothing can replace our mother tongue. Nothing can replace our national language also. But now the need is different. We have to survive in this globalized world. Therefore, we have to guide our youngsters. We have to guide our youth where they should use Kannada, where they should use Hindi, where they should speak English. Now, we have to prepare our youth for different professions. For that, English is a must. Now, situation is such that we cannot survive without English. Because we can understand how English has become an inevitable language. In the world, about 1 billion people speak English. In 67 countries, English is used as an official language. In 27 countries, English is used as a second language. And today, you must be knowing, most of the jobs if we are trying for those jobs, they depend only on our ability to communicate in English. Most of the companies, organizations, they are looking for employees who can communicate well in English. Therefore, we cannot get jobs without knowing English now. We have to learn to speak English, write in English, and we have to communicate with the people of the world. Now, therefore, we have to create an awareness among our youngsters. And we should guide them how they should take a language. And you must be knowing about the job market. In a job market, situation is such that even for a sweeper job, we should be knowing English. This is the situation. So in this situation, we should guide our youngsters, our youth, how they should improve their English. And let us not confuse them, because sometimes when we politicize these language issues, we feel that why we should learn English. We have our Kannada, we have our Hindi and all that. But as I told you earlier, in the present situation of liberalization and globalization, English alone can come to our help. And not only jobs, even in other fields of life also, English is dominating. And you take English is a window to the world. It is a window to the world of knowledge. You take any field of knowledge today, it may be science, technology, literature, computer science, philosophy, medicine, sports, everywhere English is dominating. So if you know English language, if you know English properly, you can easily gather knowledge. English is a great source of knowledge. Most of the books, journals, magazines, all that material is available in English only. I am not saying that nothing is available in our mother tongue. It may be available in Kannada or in some other language also. But they have some limitation. If you know English, you can easily gather knowledge. Because English is a most developed language. We have millions of words, phrases and all there in English. And today, there are more than 12 lakhs of words in English. You can imagine how rich and how wide the vocabulary of English. Therefore, if you want to get knowledge, you have to learn. And you take the social media, all that, internet, no? To what extent we depend on internet. So without internet we cannot get knowledge now. So even to get knowledge from Google and internet, we have to depend on English one. So this is the situation in which we are surviving. Then why we should learn English? Because when we say that English can make our life, it is indirectly asking why we should learn English. Because the time is such that we should learn not only Kannada, but we have to learn other languages. We have to learn Hindi also. At the same time, we have to learn. One research says that we can easily learn four to five languages. So we have to develop our competence. So when you learn English, it is really brainstorm. It improves our competence. It improves the power of our brain also. Then English is a language of trade and commerce. Today, the foreign exchange, the foreign trade, money matters, they all depend on English only. Therefore, if you want to be successful, even in the field of business, you have to learn English. Because when you start a business, even the business world has become global now. You are doing business from India, from a small place, but your clients are worldwide. Your clients are abroad. Naturally, you have to communicate with them in English only. That's why, even in the field of trade and commerce also, one has to depend on English. Similarly, English is a language of research also. Because if you think of doing some research, like MPhil or PhD or any research work, all research material, advanced knowledge, so journals, magazines, it is all available in English only. Therefore, even in the field of research, we have to depend on English. And the field of research also can make our life, that also we should remember. Then, if our youth are thinking of making a life, they have to develop their personality. How should we develop our personality? We can develop our personality only by improving our communication. Without communication, you cannot improve your personality. So, learning English is also a way of improving your personality. We can speak in Kannada also. That is the question now. Our young youths, our young people, they say that they don't want to learn English, they want to learn Kannada. But unfortunately, they don't know Kannada also properly. If they can speak and write properly in Kannada, that also can make their life. But if you want to get job opportunity throughout the world, in other countries, and even within India also, we have to learn English communication. You must have seen many engineering graduates, MBA graduates, and graduates and postgraduates from other fields. They have excellent academic records. They have scored very high marks. But they are not selected. They are not recruited. What is the problem? Because they fail miserably in communication. You know, the modes of recruitment nowadays, most companies, they conduct campus interviews. And when our young people, young girls and boys, they go for interviews, they fail miserably because they cannot speak English properly. Though they are having excellent academic records, they cannot speak English because they don't have that exposure. They don't have that desire to learn English. And they cannot participate in a group discussion where they can express their views. They cannot do any oral presentation. they can't even introduce themselves properly. That's why so we have to understand this need now. Most of the companies, they are looking for such resources from. Other things they will teach you later, but the basic qualification, with basic eligibility is that you should be able to speak English. You should be able to write in English. You should be able to communicate in English. Why this has become necessary? Because I told you it is all because of globalization. When you enter a job, you have to communicate to people of different nations. So English has become a common language of communication. If you know English, you can communicate with Russians, with Japanese, with Chinese, Koreans, anywhere in the world. Therefore, we have to realize the need for knowing or learning English. And even in the international level also, in the early stage, English was neglected. English was not given so much importance because Russians, Chinese and Japanese and some other countries, they were competing with English. They were not ready to recognize English as an international language. So they did not learn English deliberately. But what is the problem now? Now they are repenting for not having learnt English. Now they are learning English. But in that connection, I think Indians have done an excellent job because we have learnt English and we are learning English. That is the reason why even in the field of science and technology also, we are going far ahead. Today, in China, Japan, Russia and other countries, they are appointing Indian teachers to teach English. So English is not our weakness, English is our strength. So let us be proud of our mother tongue. At the same time, we have to be very good in English. That is the only way through which you can become a global leader. Language can make you very powerful because English is not just a professional language, it is a language of status, it is a language of prestige, it is a language of dignity. Even in our day-to-day life also, if you are speaking English, if you are having a good spoken English, people will see you with a lot of respect and seriousness. That's what our graduates and postgraduates they should know that, because people who are in high position, who are looking for good jobs, they should know English. And nowadays, if a graduate, if he cannot speak English, he is almost seen as a handicapped. He is seen as a disabled person. He may be good in other subjects or in other languages, but if he cannot speak English, he has no respect at all. So, English language gives you status, gives you dignity in society. That's why I request our youngsters to learn English for prestige, for respect in society. Profession is there, but apart from that also, to be a respected person in society, you have to learn English. And similarly, English is a language of media and entertainment also. Media and entertainment you can understand. We have electronic media, we have print media, we have social media, we have cinema, we have movies, we have internet. And in the field of media entertainment also, English is dominating. We have maximum movies in English. We have We can get lot of entertainment if you understand English. That is also a need. And to become successful in life, one has to learn. So what is the evidence for that? You take the example of America only. Today, America is the most successful nation. America is economically very much advanced, technologically, scientifically, commercially. But what is the secret of its success? The secret of its success is English. That we should know. So, see the example of America. I am not saying that America is an ideal nation in all this, but at least the material success it has achieved. That is all. That is only because of English. Then now the question comes. If we have to learn English, how to learn? How we can make our life and profession? How we can make a good career through English? First of all, let us accept that we need English. English is not really a difficult language. If you apply your mind, definitely you can learn. But there are different ways of learning. Once you decide to learn English, there are certain tips which I can give now. Because we also came from Kannada medium background. But if you have a genuine desire to learn English, you can definitely learn. And nowadays, we have more facilities to learn English. We have a better exposure. We have a better environment to learn English. And this kind of atmosphere we were not having when we were students. We had some books and magazines, that's all. But today, you can learn English easily because we have that atmosphere now. For example, you can learn English even through a cricket commentary also. You are interested in sports and cricket. When you are watching a cricket match, through cricket commentary also you can learn English. And we have so many sports magazines, film magazines in English. And if you are interested in those fields, you can learn English. So what I say is, you can learn English in different ways. Number one, you have to listen well. Constant listening. What you can listen? You first listen yourself when people are speaking in English. You listen to English news. You listen to English programs on TV, radio, internet. And that will improve your English because listening is very important. In English, a continuous exposure to listening, there you can learn correct pronunciation and accent. Because in English, what happens? Pronunciation is very, very important. If you pronounce wrongly, then it is wrong English. And similarly, you have to read a lot. You can read newspapers. You can read storybooks. I suggest our young students to start with simple stories in English. Because if you start suddenly with newspapers and magazines, you may not understand that language. But you can start with simple stories for children in English. That will improve your language. There you will learn how to construct sentences, how to express our ideas in English. That is one. Listening. Then writing will also help you. Because in English, spellings are important. When you start writing, but you cannot write without listening and reading. Once you read and listen, you will come to know how that language should be used. Then you can easily write. Start writing some small sentences in the beginning, some very essential sentences. That will also help you. So, lastly, you start speaking in English. In the beginning, there will be a lot of hesitation. But before starting to speak in English, you just observe how people are speaking. And you must have that kind of atmosphere, environment in your college also, or among your friends. You should be having around you the people, friends who can speak English. And there slowly you can overcome hesitation, you can overcome fear and start speaking in English. So it requires a lot of practice. Without practice, this is all not possible. But definitely you can do it. And if you learn English, then definitely it helps you to make a life, to make a very good career. We have seen in the present world, many people with less qualification, less academic qualification, are also, they have entered into very good jobs. It's only because of English. Even with matriculation, PUC and degree also. Just because of spoken English, they are in very good positions now. And on the contrary, we have so many highly qualified people, because of not knowing English, they are not able to get any jobs. Situation is like that. So we should not have any reservation regarding learning of it. So definitely your teachers, your college will definitely help you to learn English, but you have to decide. Now we shall come to a conclusion that first let us welcome English. Let us not hate English. I say that if you are good in Kannada, you will be good in English also. So we want Kannada, we want English, we want Hindi, we want so many languages. So just because I love Kannada, I did not hate it. Let us love all languages. But we should know where to use English, where to use Kannada, and where to use Hindi. And let us try to improve English and become a good speaker, a good writer of English. And definitely it makes a wonderful career. Once again, I thank the organizers here for giving me an opportunity to speak on this occasion. I hope this talk of mine will help our students in realizing the significance of English language, and definitely they will make positive efforts to learn English and make a good career. Thank you, Anda. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir, for your sharing your extreme thoughts and knowledge with us.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you for organizing this workshop in English.
Welcome, sir. To be inspired. Hello. To be inspired is great, but to be inspiration is an honor. Now, I would like to introduce the resource person for second session. Dr. C.L. Patil, sir, Associate Professor and Coordinator for PG Studies in English, SICAB, ARS Inamdar Arts, Science and Commerce College for Women, Vijaypur. Dr. Chidambar Patil, born on 1962 at Dharwad. Sir completed his graduation at Lingraj College, Belgavi, and post-graduation at Karnataka University, Dharwad. Completed PhD in the year 2019 from Gulbarga University. The themes in the poetry of Shankar Mokashi Punekar. Sir working as a PG coordinator in MA in English since 2016-17. Worked as a guest faculty for Department of English in Karnataka State's Akkamadevi Women's University, Vijaypur, and Rani Channamma University PG Center, Belgaum. Sir published 22 research articles in national and international journals and books. Worked as editorial member and executive editor for 24 textbooks in English of Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, Vijaypur. Sir worked as BOS member and BOE chairman, member of English subject of Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, Vijaypur. Attended many number of national and international seminars, conferences, workshops as a resource person, presented papers and chaired sessions, etc. His present responsibilities are PG coordinator in English, IQAC coordinator, RUSA coordinator, member of planning board of the college, and IQAC coordinator, etc. Now I hand over session to Dr. C.L. Patil sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay.
Sir, can you please adjust your
So
camera
first
a
of
little
all-
bit, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, that's fine, sir.
Okay. So first of all, I take this opportunity to thank Pallavi madam, Janaki, principal of the college, the association, for taking keen interest in organizing workshop on the relevant topics. And we heard just now Professor Kotnis giving relevant examples and stressed on the importance and need of English language today, which has become what we now call as the language of commodity. So first of all, I congratulate all the organizers for organizing this wonderful workshop. My presentation of topic will be English literature, a soul of the world. So I will begin with my PPT presentation. Okay, this is, as we know, national level workshop. Topic is English literature, a soul of the world. And this is my name, and we shall begin. It is a known fact. What is a known fact? Here it is. Literature grows out of life, reacts upon life, and is fed by life. Now, this itself tells us that the scope of literature is so vast that it is impossible to reduce it to a formula. When we look into the views of literary critics, our perception will be with a new perspective. Matthew Arnold defines literature is the artistic expression of the best that is known and taught in the world. We will not stop only with this expression. We have one more. Literature consists of all books where moral truth and human passions are touched with the largeness, sanity, and attractive form. What do we find? This is expressed by Morley. We have one more critic. Many of you might have heard of him, Thomas De Quincey, who has classified literature into two parts, literature of power and literature of knowledge. He says, all that is literature seeks to communicate power. Means he is speaking of literature of power. All that is not literature to communicate knowledge. Whether a literary work or any published book, either it communicates knowledge or it seeks to communicate power. One of the critics also says that literature is everything in print. Everything in print means what? It includes books on all subjects under the sky. Fine arts, science, social science, medical, law, engineering, etc., etc. Why? Because they give knowledge, and some books are literature of power that touch the chord of emotions of human beings. We have another critic, Edwin Greenlaw. Edwin Greenlaw says, nothing related to the history of civilization is beyond the province of literature. Means, not one single book cannot be away from literature. Every book that is published is a part of literature today. The topic for me is English literature, a soul of the world. Topic is very wide. If you just look into the scope of the topic, there is a word called soul. The scope of topic is so wide that it may take days together to discuss or to interpret. Why? Because look at that. The word soul has so many meanings. So if you just put that question, what is the meaning of soul? Few I will give. Soul means conscience, feeling, heart, emotion, life, mind, personality, thought, individuality, breath of life, spiritual being, vital force, inspiration, passion, etc., etc., etc.
Sorry for interrupting, sir. Sir, Manoj Kotni, sir, can you
Yes.
able to mute it, sir?
Right.
Sorry, sir. You can start. Continue,
Okay.
sir.
If so many, I have just selected few. If you go into thesaurus and dictionary, you will get many more such words which are related to literature, and all these aspects you will find in literature. Just imagine, if we just take one topic, emotion, then it may go for days together to speak only on that topic. So therefore, looking into the wide scope of the topic, what I have done is I have restricted to that part of literature what I call as literature and life. See? I have just given words: conscience, feeling, heart, emotion, life, mind, personality, thought, individuality, breadth of life, etc., etc., etc. What I want to say, we cannot deny the fact that literature is intimately related to society. And what is society? Outcome of civilization. If society is outcome of civilization, we have been reading, and we all know that literature reflects the activities of the group of people called race. The expression of the writer of these people is not just a reflection of the society, reflection of the personality, but it is a reflection of the entire culture of the race emerged from its milieu, the society and the civilization, the system of social organization, the class structure, and the deep impression they leave on the readers. So this is clear that the entire social process is reflected in literature. When I say society and civilization, it is of the people I am speaking. And we all know there cannot be people without life or soul. Thus we say literature is reflection of life as interpreted by the writer. So what the writer feels during his age, he brings it out in the form of a literary work. When we slightly go to look into what literature is composed of, W.H. Hudson says, he asserts, literature is composed of those books, and stresses, he says, composed of those books and of those books which in the first place, by reasons of their subject matter and their mode of treating it, are of general human interest. This is most important. Whatever we write, they should be of human interest. Now, when we look into what literature is and how literature and life are inseparable, we come to Matthew Arnold again, the most important critic. He says, literature is criticism of life. Then we have another writer, you might have heard his name, Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde says, literature always anticipates life. Normally what happens, we often go on quoting definitions given by critics. There is an interesting expression by Georgie Eliot, the novelist. She says, literature is nearest thing to life. It is a mode of amplifying experience and extending our contact with our fellow men beyond of our own personal lot. Now, when we look into all these, just when we carefully repeat these definitions of literature, the concepts of literature are more or less variations on the same theme. And what is that same theme? Life. We have literature because of its profound and lasting significance. Its profound and lasting significance makes us to love literature because it grows directly out of life. Why we like literary works is because it speaks about life. We have number of definitions. Aristotle said, literature is a mirror of life. Therefore, we say that literature is the vital records of what men have seen in life, what they have experienced of it, and what they have thought and felt about these aspects of it, which have the most immediate and enduring interest for all of us. See? When I use the word men, we are included in it. How it is a vital record of how we have seen life, how we have experienced life, how we have thought and felt about these aspects. Why? Because they have the most immediate and enduring interest for all of us. That is why we say literature is the expression of life through the medium of language. We all know for proper emotions, we have to come out with proper words. Then only the effect of literature can be felt. We will go slightly further. John Milton says, a good book is the precious lifeblood of master spirit, embalmed and treasured up on purpose to a life beyond life. See? We talk about a life beyond life. Now what this tells? This tells us that literature and life are inextricably entwined. They are bounded together. So looking at all these definitions, expressions by different writers, the question that comes to the mind is, why man likes literature or loves literature so much? This is because literature is human document. What man has seen life, how the life has been experienced, what thoughts and ideas they felt, and above all these aspects, how literature has their enduring interest for the readers. When we read such things, we feel akin to the emotions, thoughts, and ideas of the characters represented in it. Means, They say that a good book presents life before us as it is. So thus literature becomes a perennial source of joy. Dryden says, delight is the supreme end of poetry. Why? Literature transports us to the land of heart's desires. As we go deep into the discussion of literature and life, I want to quote an example taken from the Bible. And this example was quoted by Virginia Woolf in her essay, where Virginia Woolf speaks about what Jesus Christ felt when he sees a lover of literature. Now I will just narrate you the incident. So it was the day of last judgment. Christ himself was sitting on the judgment seat. Now he had to pass his judgment on all human souls who were in a queue. And Christ was encircled by a host of angels. And human souls are intensely waiting for the verdict of Jesus. One by one, what was seen was these human beings were remunerated, means rewarded or punished according to their deserts. Now what happens? Suddenly, a lover of literature enters. Now Jesus Christ feels that to this lover of literature, he has nothing to offer as a reward. Jesus says, he has enjoyed heavenly bliss while on earth. Now you understand the meaning behind this story. Christ says, he has enjoyed heavenly bliss while on earth. Means, a lover of literature can see heaven, enjoy it in a work of literature. So literature is universal and has abiding interest. Since the day of Homer, means if we begin from Homer till date, literature has been transporting us to an enchanted land of laughter and tears. Means there is joy as well as there is what we call as tears of joy. We have experienced sorrows. When we read tragedies, we wept with the fate of the characters. We enjoyed with the comic characters. We were part of the emotions and feelings of those characters, so much so that as we went deep into reading, we as readers never felt that I am different and the character in the text is different. The emotions and feelings were so close to human emotions and feelings that we started feeling that we are reading about our own character and personality. When we read great literary works by writers You may say like Homer, Dante, Shakespeare, Milton, Wordsworth, T.S. Eliot, host of writers. They not only give us knowledge or instruct us, but lift us from the dreary existence to a much higher plane. And these writers and many have interpreted literature in terms of moral values. See, when we say moral values, I cannot forget I.A. Richards. I.A. Richards categorically points out, in judging the value of a poem or a play, we cannot possibly ignore its place in the greater structure of human life. Now, this is more important. He says, we cannot possibly ignore its place in the greater structure of human life. Means, just recollect my topic, literature and life. So, literature and life are inseparable. Many times we say literature and life are two sides of the same coin. You cannot give up anyone. So what happens is, many times we wonder what this literature is. Wherever and whenever it appears, it startles us, surprises us. Why? Again, I'll bring back to your mind this man, Longinus. Longinus says, sublime literature lifts the reader out of himself. What happens is, literature prevails where the persuasive and agreeable may fail. For persuasion depends mainly on ourselves. But there is no fighting against sovereignty of genius. It imposes its irresistible will upon us. A great work of literature cannot stop influencing the reader. Sometimes what happens, after reading a great work of literature, for hours together we cannot come out of the mood of that work of literature. Why this happens? A question comes to the mind. Why it is that literature and life go together? Simple reason. Literature not only transports and moves us to ecstasy, but helps us to face the reality of life and lighten the burden of men's lives. If you remember Wordsworth, he always wanted to be in the midst of nature where he found consolation, solace. And there are many writers who say reading great works of literature reduces the burden of life, helps us to face the realities of life, and most important, the noble ideals enunciated and illustrated in great works often give our life a meaning. We have people who have lost hopes of life, but for such people, life becomes meaningful for them if they read great works of literature. I would like to assert we have to read great literary works, and when we read them, we feel reinforced and quenched the flame of hope, the urge to live, the desire to love, the desire to enjoy, and the desire to learn new things in life. See, that is the force of literature. That is the impact of literature. We as readers hear a distinct call of life and an open sesame to the land of eternal desires. See, I am using an allusion here. Open sesame, which comes in the story of Alauddin and 40 Thieves. Even John Ruskin in Sesame and Delice points out the same thing. Open sesame. If you open that secret door, there will be the land of eternal sunshine. Always it is full of success and success. We are human beings, and human life is full of joys and sorrows. Matthew Arnold wrote a beautiful poem called Philomela. In the last line of the Philomela, Matthew Arnold comes out with the phrases eternal passion, eternal pain. So I would like to convert it into a form of sentence related to literature. I would like to say great literature deals with eternal passion, eternal pain. Further, I would like to say literature is a representation of life, promotes a better understanding of ourselves as well as our fellow beings. See how important it is. We are not the lone to survive in this world. We got our fellow beings, and literature helps us to understand how our fellow beings are and how we must live with them. Today, we don't speak just of English literature. Now, earlier English literature meant only British literature. Today, the scope and concept has grown wide. We have American literature, we have Australian literature, Canadian literature, African literature, Indian English literature, and they are written in English. But the recent trend that we find today, a new concept has developed, and this new concept is what we call as world literature, which includes literature of all languages spoken and written in the world. This concept of world literature has certainly fostered a cordial relationship between nations. See, man today is not an isolated being. He thinks in terms of universal brotherhood. See? When nations are fighting for superiority of one over the other, literature is the only field where it thinks of universal brotherhood. It has become a need of the hour. The world is changing. The artist and the society are dynamic. The responsibility of the writers is more now than in the past. Why? Because the writers should be the cultural ambassadors of their country, their nation, whose mission is to bring different nations closer and closer. We have stepped into 21st century. Our values are changing fast with new and fresh ideas. Therefore, writers of different nations are influencing readers of different nations. How? Through their translated works. If we go back to British literature, the foundation for British literature can be seen in classical literature, Greek and Latin literature. The translation of Greek and Latin literature became model for English writers. So today, we are in a global village. Every nation wants to understand other nations, and this is possible through works of literature translated into languages, different languages. See, for example, today we find Sanskrit works of Kalidasa, Tagore's Bengali works, Tolstoy, Shakespeare, Dickens, Milton, T.S. Eliot, Homer, Dante. So we can go on taking the names of all those writers from different languages whose works are being translated into languages of native countries. What we find? This translation of literary works from one language to other language is not just to make readers read the books, but it is what we call as the exchange of culture. So when we say the exchange of culture, again, we cannot forget Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold says, culture is the disinterested endeavor to learn and propagate the best that is written and taught in the world. See, what a literary work has to bring out is the best that is written and taught in the world. That is why today translation has become one of the important developments in the modern world. Today we have diasporic writers who bring various topics related to diaspora, and there are so many translators in a country like India. They are translating English book into native languages and the native book into English languages, and Indian literature in general. I am not saying Indian writing in English, but Indian literature in general has been wide popular all over the world today. Kuvempu's Ramayana Darshanam is being read by foreigners. Kalidasa's dramas and poetry is being read by foreigners. Tagore's Bengali works are being read by foreigners. Gulshan Nanda's Hindi novels, Premchand's Hindi novels and short stories are read all over the world. We are reading Tolstoy, Dostoevsky. Why? Simple reason is propagate the best that is written and taught in the world. If so, then we have to believe that we are all citizens of this world and should warmly welcome the fresh stream of ideas from different sources. Literature is the only field where we do not have enemy. Man today is accepting new ideas, new thoughts, not from one source, but from different sources. Literature is not restricted only to prose, poetry, novel, and drama. What Thomas De Quincey says, the literature of power and literature of knowledge, subjects of science, medicine, philosophy, technology, religion, social sciences, they are also part of literature. See, Edward Gibbon's history book, Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, is considered as one of the finest artistic book in history. Charles Darwin's Origin of Species is a work of literature. There are so many examples that can be quoted. See, even when we speak of Bertrand Russell, as a literary work, we quote his book on mathematics. So, fresh stream of ideas from different sources are being accepted today. When this is the case, then I think what I wanted to express, how literature has been part of life and life has been part of literature, is one aspect of English literature, a soul of the world. So I would like to conclude by saying that a writer must not think that literature is the only medium in which the society of his age is reflected. A writer must not think that literature is the only medium in which the society of his age is reflected. Means literature is not the only medium. We got other mediums also who play their role in our life, and they are also part of literature. Religion, philosophy, science and technology today have been very effective in the form of media. Media has its influence. Religion has its influence. Philosophy and science have their influence. But we cannot deny the fact that none is as effective as literature. Why? Because it easily teaches the heart of man about life. It easily teaches the heart of man about life. So when we say this, then my topic, literature and life, happens to be more relevant. So I once again take this opportunity to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to express my few thoughts and ideas regarding literature, English literature, a soul of the world. What I have done is, in a broader sense, I have taken literature. So thank you once again.
Thank you, sir, for your passionate presentation on the English literature.
Thank you, madam.
Welcome, sir. We will go ahead and take some time for questions now. Just a reminder, please be sure to type your questions into the chat box. Sir, I have some questions.
Yes, madam.
Some of the participants are asking some questions, sir, regarding the first session, that is, many people made their life renowned without English. So what can you say on these words? Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I'll just see.
So this question is for Courtney, sir.
Madam, sir is not available, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. It's okay, sir. So next question is for Patil, sir. So the question is, how the English literature universalized its importance? Hello, sir.
Patil, sir.
Patil, sir.
Patil, sir, we are audible, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Here, madam.
Hello, madam. You can ask the question again.
So the question is that how the English literature universalized its importance?
See, what I feel is that some kind of a notion has developed that if we write in English, one reason is we can become popular. More than that, we want to look better in the eyes of Western countries where English is popular. Reason again is India is a country where there are so many languages, and in many of the states somehow there is propaganda against English, because what Courtney sir told in the morning is we have to understand the reality. See, somewhere in 1920s and 30s, H.G. Wells wrote a beautiful book called The World Set Free. And in that book he said, this world is going to be small in decades to come. And for the purpose of communication, English would be the most suitable language. And we all know today we call English as international language for communication. So is literature. We want to write in English because we want to show what India is to the West. Africans wrote in English because they wanted to bring out and expose the worst impact of colonial rule. That is how there are so many countries where English has been the medium of language to express. So everywhere we find writers coming out, writing their books in English. This is another reason. One more reason is there is a craze for winning awards. International awards are there for literature. So that concept of universalization is want to make popular their culture, but more than that, they want to become popular themselves by winning awards. So that is what I feel. There may be different interpretations also. Yes. Any other question?
Yes, sir. So we have another question, that is, English literature is compared to the soul.
Yes.
How can you justify the comparison?
I told you in the beginning, soul has so many interpretations, not just 10, 15, it has more than 50 interpretations. Soul is nothing but it is a life. We are living because we have soul in us. This life is alive because there is soul in us. We are part of this society, means soul is part of this society. What the writer brings out is our own life, our own society. See, that is why we always say literature is a reflection of this society. Whose reflection it is? Our own reflection. And that is why we say there is no difference between life and soul, literature and soul. So there are so many interpretations when we take this word soul. Yes.
One more. Hello, madam. Over to you.
Hello, sir. ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ?
So Janki sir want to ask one question, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay, sir. Sir, here, English literature is compared to the soul.
Yes. Now, why you just want to compare English literature to soul? I told you, today the scope of literature has grown so wide that we don't speak just about English literature. We also speak about Indian writing in English. We speak about American literature. We speak about Australian literature, Caribbean literature, Russian literature. And every literature represents life itself. And the concept of world literature has come today. When we are in the period of world literature, let us not restrict English literature only as soul of the world, but we have to say world literature as the soul of the world, or in general, literature as the soul of the world. What effect English literature gives, same effect we find in Kannada literature, Sanskrit literature, Tamil literature, Malayalam literature. So we cannot just say or restrict English literature as the soul of the world, but in general we can say literature as the soul of the world. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Pallavi
So one
madam,
more question is for
one
Potni,
question.
sir.
Yeah, please. Please ask.
So many people renounce their life without English. So what can you say on these words?
I agree with the statement given by that participant that there are so many renowned people who have succeeded without English also. We are not saying that man can succeed only with English. We can succeed without English also, but such examples are very, very rare. Because there are many people who have succeeded without education also. That is different thing. We are not going by those examples. We have to show a proper way which is commonly applicable to all. That is one. There are so many prominent people who have made a successful life with Kannada also. That is also possible. But when you think of making a good profession or a career, we have to analyze the present situation. Because you have seen many people with post-graduation, doctorate and all that, for not knowing English, they have not got good jobs. Many are unemployed also. That situation we have to see. But whereas people knowing English, even with small qualification also, they are getting jobs. So we are not speaking about renowned people now. There may be some writers and businessmen, some scholars with other languages also. But we are talking about average people, how they can succeed with English. I am not saying that English is the only a passport to success. There are different ways also. But now what we are seeing is English is being seen as a major path through which you can reach your destination. That was our argument. And we are not trying to say that English is the only way of getting success. I think I answered that question. Any other question, madam?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just as a one candle lights another and can light thousands of other candles. So one heart illuminates another heart and can illuminate thousands of other hearts. Now I request Srimati A. Kundurgimat, Lecturer of English, to offer thanks to everyone. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon to everyone. Myself, Srimati Archana Kundargimat, Lecturer, Department of English. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks. Once a great man whispered, feeling thankfulness and not expressing it is like a wrapping a present and not giving it. Today, I take an opportunity to put all my gratitude into words. On the behalf of our institution and all the students, first of all, I would like to thank our chief guests, Mr. M.T. Kotni sir and Dr. C.L. Patil sir, for taking the precious time out and consenting to be the chief guests. Thank you, sir, for your very interesting and thoughtful provoking address. I would like to thank our respected Chief Patron, Dr. Viranna C. Charantimat, MLA, Chairman BVV Sangha Bagalkot, who graced us with his presence and guidance. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Shri Mahesh N. Atni, Honorary Secretary, BVV Sangha Bagalkot. Thank you, sir. I extend my thanks to Shri Ashok M. Sajjan, Beur, Chairman College Governing Council, BVV Sangha Bagalkot, for his moral support and guidance. Thank you, sir. I would like to express our profound gratitude to our principal of our college, Srimati S.J. Vadier, for her presence in the workshop. Ma'am, you have been a constant support and you have given us a lot of encouragement. Thank you, ma'am. I also wish to express my gratitude to our IQAC coordinator, Srimati P.K. Chogla, HOD, Department of... Thank you, ma'am. To our beloved HOD, Srimati P.S. Patrot, for her words. Thank you, ma'am. I am very happy to our staff members who have made this workshop successful. Thank you. Last but not least, I thank you all the students for provoking your constant interest in the workshop. Thank you for your cooperation, dear students. Once again, I thank to all who have helped us in making this workshop such a resounding success. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you.